Yes, all the time. There is, I believe with all homeschoolers, there's the doubt. Am I doing enough? Is this enough for them? Am I challenging them enough? Is this enough to get them where they want to be in life? Is this going to get them into college? It was very important for both my husband and I for our kids to go on to college. And I remember, especially in middle school and in early years of high school, thinking, oh, how are we ever going to make this work? What's the college process? You know, how are we going to get them in? Is it enough? And then it was a doubting thing every year. When my oldest got into college, I started meeting with a lot of colleges and asking, you know, are there different hoops I need to jump through to get a homeschooled kid into college? And the answer was usually no. In fact, we love homeschool kids. We find that homeschool kids are more independent thinkers. They're more self-motivated learners. And actually many colleges recruit homeschooled kids very hard. But in the beginning, I didn't know that. Unfortunately, if you go the whole way, it's a 13, 14-year process and you don't know. So every year, as I was planning the 2 weeks before school would start, I was just a nervous wreck and just, oh, this is the year I'm going to really mess it up. It's not going to work. You know, am I doing enough? Have I got enough on the agenda? Am I challenging everyone? Am I challenging them too much? I prayed hard before we started school and the curriculum that we chose and tried to match learning styles to learning needs and pace to what was comfortable with the kids. I had a couple kids who were smarter than they should have been, and I had several kids who really, really struggled, and I had to find a pace that worked for them. And my kids went on to school, and all of them have gotten into college, and 3 of them have graduated, and it was enough. But you will always ask, is it enough? Most of the time the answer was no, but when my oldest, who is the typical oldest of a large family and with a very strong opinion, and we call her very strong leadership skills, I mean she's very headstrong, she decided she did not really want to be homeschooled anymore, and she asked if at high school she could make the change to public school. And we thoughtfully considered it. We visited the school. We had my husband and I had a conversation with her about what it would look like, what it would mean. We visited the school, we prayed about it, and it was a group decision. And over the course of the summer that we prayed about it, we all felt a strong no. And honestly, my husband and I had felt no before, but we wanted to have Emily involved in the process. She chose to stay home and homeschooled, and none of my other kids ever asked. I have more introverts than extroverts, so 4 of my kids really would have rather just been home.
Well, I love that all of my children, well, the ones that have graduated, you know, are all productive members of society at this point. They're all honest people. They all love the Lord. They all have hearts to serve.
For me, the greatest accomplishment was when my first went off to college. And the whole year before she went, I was a basket case. I cried at the most ridiculous things. She's never going to be ready. It's never going to work. What have I done? And then she went and she succeeded. She made friends in the first week. Our only requirement for our kids is that they had to join a Christian group the first year of college. So either IV or Crusade, what was ever on their campus. She got into university at York College, made friends, joined the praise team, and thrived. In fact, she met her husband in a freshman Bible study, and they now have 2 precious boys. So seeing my kids succeed, that she got there, I had given her what she needed, and she could go from there. All of my kids have gone on to college. 3 have graduated, 2 are still in college, and they are doing well. I was able to give them the things they needed. The other achievement, or I don't even know, accomplishment, if you would call it that, but it was really important to me that my kids be themselves. There are so many people that want their kids, you know, I said I wanted my kids to go to college, but it wasn't just that. I wanted them to be the person God wanted them to be, the person that He created them to be. They're proud of who they are. They're proud of their heritage. They're proud of what they did being homeschooled. Sometimes it shocks their friends that they were homeschooled. Sometimes it doesn't. They're responsible adults that I really like, and that's an accomplishment.
That question assumes that I have not lost myself.
Ah.
I am lost. So I think in sharing that, I share that I like to be just honest and out there because moms deal with that. I have been asking myself that question. I've gone back to choir, but I'm not sure that I feel that that's always, I'm still looking for that one thing that I used to do and enjoy. There's some things that are coming up now that I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I need to do this for myself. And likewise for our marriage. So yeah, right now,
Still searching.
still searching.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I think at some point you just become desensitized to the noise. It's interesting, my husband, who's gone most of the day, after 20 some years, he still is very affected by the noise in the house. But I think at some point you just start toning it out. So there's not really a whole lot of opportunities to run away necessarily. I do have, some women friends in my life that we get an opportunity of a couple times a year to just go do something as women, and that's very therapeutic. We have a co-op that meets, and every mom gets an hour off and just sitting in the mom's room and just talking and making it feel like you're not alone. So there's not really something scheduled to recharge necessarily, but just taking the opportunities when you do have them.
There are a lot of things in life, I suppose, that I want to do, but I hadn't really. Sometimes when you're so lost in what you're doing, you have to really go back and start finding out who you are all over again, which is a shame to have let that happen, but I'm just telling you it did, and so I'm still working on that. Travel has always been a passion of mine, but then you need dollars to make it happen. So that is something, I can list several countries that I want to visit. There are several that I've been fortunate as a kid to visit, but travel is my thing.
God opened a door up about 3 years ago where I had an opportunity to go back to school. I got married very young. I always joke with people I don't recommend it. God has blessed that. We've been married 30 years, but I don't feel like you necessarily know who you are when you're that young. But I was in college, and I was at a Christian college, and of course the joke was, everybody got their MRS degree. And so I met my husband and we got married, but I didn't complete my degree. So as I started graduating kids and they went on to the next level of academics and they started graduating college, and it just kind of dug at me that like I had taught these children and they were all more educated in the world's eyes than I was. So God opened a door up a couple years ago that I had an opportunity to go back to school. So I've been doing school now for 3 years and I have 2 more years to go. And so that seems to be the door God's opening right now. So I do anticipate at some point going back into the workforce. And we'll see what doors God's opens when we get to that point. I think the hard part, and it's a big piece of humble pie even with going back to school, of you're sitting in school with 18-year-olds, and 18 has been a long time ago. So you definitely feel like the older person in every, so I'm sure there will be that of, having people in leadership that are younger than you are. But, at that point, that's just the season that they're in. And I have no aspirations of, wanting to climb the corporate ladder, and, I'm not looking for that long year career. I'm looking for that season until, God has the next thing for me.